Now if we went ahead and added this block, I'm going to set this to 13 and click Save Block. And we click Configure again, we get an error here and the number of items to show doesn't change. That's because we're not saving this yet. So that's going to be our next step. We're going to jump back to the editor here. And what we would need to do in our block plugin is not just build a configuration form, but save the data from it when it gets stored. In the Powered by Drupal block, which we copied from, it didn't need to save anything from the configuration form because it was just overriding and disabling certain elements in it. So in this Assign Owner node, we can see the signature of saving that form, which is Submit Configuration Form. So let's just copy this along with the Inherit Doc comments above it and go back to Trails History block and paste it in here. Okay, so what we want to do here is simply save the num to show for the block when this configuration form gets submitted. So this starts out this configuration owner UID. Let's change this to num to show. I'm going to copy that and paste it over here. Equals, and then it has a whole bunch of stuff, but what we really want to grab is the form state value for the Trails block num input here. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it over everything that's on the right hand side of this equal sign. And for form state values owner name, I'm instead going to use Trails block num and paste it in there. Okay, and then I'm going to save this. Let's check out if this works. I'm going to jump back to the browser and refresh this configuration. We're still getting this undefined index here, but if we select a different item here under numbers to show and click Save Block, and then go back to configure, we'll see the number of items 10 here and we no longer see this error. Now, if we create a new block, we shouldn't see that error anymore because as soon as a configuration form gets saved when the block is created, then it will save that value. We can test that out in a little bit. Let's set this to a high number, say 16. We'll save this. And let's set this to display somewhere where we can see it. Now, our original one that we added to the blocks layout was removed when we uninstalled our module to reinstall it to pull in the default configuration. So we have to re-add this. So I'm going to save it. And let's go back to front page so we can see this list. Okay, Trails History. Okay, so this is our block, but it's only showing the last 5. So what we're missing here is the final piece of the puzzle, which is actually using this configuration for the block when we build out the content to display for the block. So let's change that. I'm going to go back to our editor, and under Trails History block.php, we're going to go back to the build section where we create the content. Okay, and now the way that we're getting the number of items to loop through is by using this Drupal state. And we know now that we're not going to use state for this because each block is going to have its own configuration. So let's scroll down and use this configuration num to show. We'll just copy it right from here. Scroll back up and replace this out. Now this should always have a value now, so we don't need to set a default for it. And now let's go back to the browser and refresh. Whoa, check it out. We now have this long list of a beautiful trail here.